The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Atlanta. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. I'm your host, Steve-O. I'm getting over 2 days of major frustrations. We are down here in the Florida area, and our basketball team, the Heat, went to the finals, were eliminated this week, and then our hockey team went to the Stanley Cup finals, and they weren't just eliminated last night. They were just smeared. So 2 down days, but you know what? I've got God and I'll be okay. Hey, today's show is brought to you by Sunbelt Business Brokers of Atlanta. They specialize in selling your business. Contact them today to set up an appointment by calling Sunbelt Business Brokers Atlanta, 770-936-9099. Today's show is I've gotten so spoiled by our next expert. He is a very world-renowned physician, went to one of the finest schools in the United States, just happened to be a school called Emory. And we have learned so much from our next expert, Dr. Eldred Taylor. And we are going to learn about functional medicine. Our show started off in weight loss, and we still do a lot of weight loss. But functional medicine, I am learning now that is so important because Dr. Taylor's medical group, the way they go about doing business, sometimes the doctor just throws pills at you. And I have learned that is not the way to do it. So we're going to be talking today. We're going to talk about cancer and vitamin C, cancer therapy. Let me welcome to you one of the finest doctors in the United States, Dr. Eldred Taylor. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, good morning, Steve. I'm kind of glad the NBA finals are over because it's hard for me to stay up that late.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. So, but it was a game in Miami. It was interesting, but to be honest, probably the better team won.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody in Florida here first of all, we were the 8th. Whereas Denver was the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
And for them to go as far as they did, we were very blessed.
Yeah.
And I love basketball. So that's my addiction.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of rough. But Atlanta has got a great coach.
Yeah.
I have followed him forever.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's so obvious the ownership for Atlanta really wants to give Atlanta a great team, and they're not afraid to go out there and do it. So We'll just have to sit and wait for next season, Dr. Taylor.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It'll be interesting to see what happens between Atlanta and Miami.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So these 8:30 starts, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Game's not over until 11:30, 12 o'clock. And with our hockey team, one of our games went into 5 overtimes. Can you imagine it? 5 overtimes.
Yeah.
So I was always getting the coffee ready for work that we're ready the next day. But anyhow, you know what? Dr. Taylor is so cool about your show because we are literally getting other doctors who have heard your show even in other states.
Mm.
And I keep forgetting, I want to tell you this, but I give every one of them your phone number, your website address, but all of them have said how impressed they are with you.
Oh,
Because Dr. Taylor, you gave up a great practice, an OB-GYN practice to go into weight loss and functional medicine. So tell everybody about your practice.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm originally trained as an OBGYN. As you said, I went to Emory, the medical school, and did a residency in OBGYN and practiced that for about 15 years. Got interested in more functional medicine as me and my wife both got older. My wife started having hormonal issues that
Yeah.
that didn't quite resolve with what I knew to do, which was birth control pills and this, that, and the other. And so I had a patient who was asking me about bioidentical hormones, what they called natural hormones back then. Listened to a tape by a guy named John Lee, and was explaining the actual physiology of how women work and how their hormones work. And that just opened my eyes to what else maybe I didn't fully understand after I left medical school, because we are taught pharmacologic medicine, like you say, throw pills at people, where really we should be practicing physiologic medicine. How does the normal physiology work, and what might be missing or what can be rebalanced in order to allow normal physiology to work normally? So that's what functional medicine is. Functional medicine means, how can I help the body function as well as possible for as long as possible? And that's by making sure that the body gets what it needs. And there's not one drug that the body actually needs. I'm not anti-drug. Some drugs need to happen. If you have a heart attack, you need drugs. You have certain acute illnesses, you need drugs. But day to day, to function at a normal, productive level, that's about making sure the body has what it needs. And so that's one of the things, is why vitamin C works, is because vitamin C is something that the body needs, but the body can't make its own vitamin C. Other animals can make vitamin C when they are exposed to abnormal cells, or they're exposed to a virus or a bacteria. Animals can increase their vitamin C, and it stimulates their immune system. The human, they can't make vitamin C, so they have to get it from other sources. And unfortunately, our food supply and how our standard American diet works, it's almost impossible to get enough vitamin C in order to do the things that we would like for it to do, or we use it for in our practice.
Well, I got to tell you, you have turned me on to plant based foods.
Yeah.
And I guess what surprised me the most, Dr. Taylor,
Mhm.
is we have a fine dining show, which you are aware of, and
Mhm.
we partner with a major movie theater group here in South Florida.
Okay.
And they actually have a restaurant. And he said, I want you to try our vegan burger. And I got to tell you,
Yeah.
it sounded horrible. I want a hamburger. But
Yeah.
Dr. Taylor, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to be plant-based now than it was 5 or 10 years ago. Hey, this is something I've just done over the last year and a half. I actually tried to be a vegetarian or vegan maybe 15, 20 years ago, but it was just too hard. I mean, it was, you had to always go into the market. Foods would, the vegetables or whatever, they would rot or whatever because you didn't use them fast enough and all this. But now there's so many vegan options. There's restaurant options. There's things, most grocery stores have plant-based vegan areas. So yeah, and those Impossible burgers or whatever, they taste just like hamburgers. I grill them.
Unbelievable. And your
Yeah,
daughter
yeah,
is I guess, a chef in plant-based foods
yeah.
that we're trying to decide, is she better for Ask the Experts or the Eat and Critique show, because we did a plant-based show with you,
Yeah.
and it was one of our biggest shows.
Well, good. Yeah, that's eating plant-based. It can help your body function in all kinds of ways. And it can help to decrease the effects of autoimmune diseases, cancer. We can talk about that. Almost any illness will improve if we go plant-based. So yeah, that's very important. And when we talk about vitamin C and cancer therapy, and I want to be clear, I'm not talking about curing cancer. So if you say that, the feds will come to you. So I'm just saying that vitamin C can be a part of a cancer therapy. Going plant-based can be a part of a cancer therapy and a cancer treatment. Now, your oncologist may not necessarily recommend it, but that is something that a patient can do on their own, to seek out on their own. How do I always tell patients, you have to be a partner in your health. You just can't totally depend upon the doctor. You need to do your own research. You need to do your part. The oncologist can't feed you, can't go to the grocery store for you. So you have to look and see what foods will not feed this cancer and help my immune system fight it off. You need to look at what therapies can I add to either be adjunctive or to help the chemotherapy work or to prevent the side effects of the chemotherapy. So that's how we use vitamin C in cancer therapy, is to aid in the effectiveness of whatever treatment you're having. And then also, one thing that I see in cancer patients is that the oncologist is focused intently on killing the cancer. And sometimes that almost decimates the health of the overall patient. The cancer may be getting better, but you look at the patient overall, and you've seen cancer patients that gone through chemotherapy, they look like they're warmed over.
Yes.
So what we try to do is hey, how can we keep the good cells healthy while the chemotherapy or the radiation is killing the cancer cells? So we have patients who decide they don't want to do conventional therapy. And I want to make it clear, I never steer someone away from conventional therapy. But some people walk in the door and they've already made that decision. So we talk about a plant-based diet. We talk about how we can use IV vitamin C. Also, you can take melatonin. There's all kinds of other things, but those are the big three we promote. But if somebody comes in and they're on chemotherapy or they have radiation, and we've seen it time after time in our practice, two things happen. They don't get the same side effects as other patients get, and the chemotherapy seems to be more effective if you have vitamin C with it. And there's studies that show this. And so we always encourage somebody, if you're going to go through conventional therapy, vitamin C, IV vitamin C is going to probably decrease the side effects that you have. And it's also going to make the chemotherapy more effective. We'll have a patient that go to the oncologist like, I can't believe how well this tumor has responded. Now, I'll tell you another little secret. I tell my patients, you don't necessarily, if your oncologist is not receptive to it, you don't necessarily have to tell the oncologist that you're getting the vitamin C.
Right.
Okay? Because I tell patients, look, it's hard enough for me to convince a doc that this is a good addition to the therapy. And so it's going to be almost impossible for you to argue your point with the oncologist. You just don't want to get into an adversarial relationship with the oncologist. Now, there's some oncologists who will say, hey, whatever you're doing extra and this cancer is responding, just keep doing it. So, I tell patients, hey, look, if you think your doctor is receptive, that's fine. But if not, just keep it to yourself.
I got a tip. I've shared with you before, my brother-in-law is head of internal medicine at Baylor Hospital in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
And I'm telling you, probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he would have said, alternative medicine, holistic medicine doesn't work. Yeah. He is a total believer in it now. And we just got a text in. I got to read this. This is from Barb. Dr. Taylor, I love your show. It has been so helpful to me and my mother. I am so confused. I understand you're talking about vitamin C today, but there's so many different types of vitamin C out there. It drives you crazy on what's best. Now, Dr. Taylor, you do in your other company, you do supplements, and vitamin C is one of them. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, there's all types of vitamin C. Now, what I'm talking about with cancer therapy is IV vitamin C.
Yes.
Okay. So let me tell you, so when I'm talking about IV vitamin C for cancer therapy, we're talking about 50 to 75 grams of vitamin C, where you may be taking 1 or 2 or 3 grams of vitamin C orally. We're talking about, doing what, 5 times, 50 times that or whatever. So that's what you have to do when you're talking about cancer therapy. Now, if you're just talking about daily health and, maybe you got a little cold and you want to take some extra vitamin C, you want to actually take vitamin C. The other thing that helps is something called bioflavonoids. Our vitamin C also has bioflavonoids. That seems to enhance the absorption of vitamin C. Vitamin C, you can only absorb, the body can only absorb so much orally at a time, and it only absorbs about 30 to 40% of what you actually take in. And so if you're going to take 2,000 or 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C, you want to take it divided up 1,000 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day if you're trying to fight off a cold. But when we're talking about cancer, we're talking about huge doses of vitamin C. And you do that IV, it takes 50 to 75 grams, takes about an hour and a half for that to infuse. And the way that vitamin C works, or some of the things it does, is one, is that vitamin C improves the health and the immune system of the healthy cells, so that the healthy cells aren't affected as much by the chemotherapy if you did not have the vitamin C. Now, there are also studies that show that vitamin C potentiates the chemotherapy and helps to kill cancer cells. So it aids whatever treatment you're having in helping to kill off the cancer cells while protecting the normal cells so that you don't get the nausea, the vomiting, the muscle wasting. We have cancer patients and they'll go in to get their chemotherapy, and all the other patients are not looking so great. And the other patients are wondering, what are our patients doing
Yes.
where they're not looking so wasted? They're not complaining about throwing up all the time. So, I'm a 100% believer in that is how you improve your chances of a pleasant life, even while you're trying to treat a cancer or recover from cancer therapy.
Dr. Taylor, I also shared with you when I got COVID the second time, it was really bad.
Mhm.
And I found a doctor who was still administering what he called the cocktail
Mhm.
and vitamin C. And this was IV. And I just remembered when he said vitamin C in there. But I got to tell you, I think I took in the IV for about 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, within an hour or two, I felt so much better
Yeah.
that I wish I'd have known about it when I got COVID the first time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just remembered that there was vitamin C in there, and it was a part of the cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in China, where COVID started, before there were vaccines or anything, that they were building hospitals and things over there because they had so many COVID patients. And what they started doing was giving 25 grams of vitamin C to those ICU patients every day for 5 days. And people were recovering and getting out of the ICU. That's how they kind of headed off this onslaught of these ICU patients. This was before a vaccine, before anything. And the NIH was actually starting a study looking at, the results of China. It was actually on the NIH website. But somehow that got swept under the rug once Pfizer came out with a vaccine, because there's just not a whole lot of money in vitamin C. You can't patent.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can't patent it. You can't, charge $10,000 for a treatment. So they weren't very interested, even though the NIH started the study. As far as I know, the study hasn't been completed, but the proof is in the pudding. That's how the Chinese, that's why they stopped building hospitals and stuff, because they found a way to decrease the severity of COVID, where they didn't have these full ICUs. But, you don't hear about it, but I promise you, I actually put out a newsletter back then talking about that study. And I'll tell you something. We had on our website, before there were vaccines or anything, I wasn't an anti-vaxxer or anything. I quoted that study, and I said, look, the best defense we have right now against COVID is build your immune system. So you need to think about taking vitamin C, and you need to make sure your vitamin D, as in dog levels, are up, and probiotics, because that helps to enhance the immune system. Well, I got a letter from the Federal Trade Commission telling me to take it to my website. And like I said, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. The vaccines hadn't even been developed. They hadn't even been developed yet. But my conspiracy theory is that the government was going to promote this vaccine, and they didn't want this other information out there, which they call disinformation. I just call it.
And you turned out to be the one right.
Yeah. And
they were wrong.
Yeah. So, vitamin C works for almost anything. Like I said, our body doesn't make it. Other animals who don't get cancers, animals in the wild, they don't get cancer. You don't see them, sick, blowing their nose or whatever. I mean, I'm kidding. But if you introduce a virus, a bacteria to an animal, and you test their vitamin C levels, they'll go up 10,000 times. The only animals, there's the guinea pig, and there's one type of monkey. And the reason why scientists use guinea pigs when they're testing a drug or testing, how someone reacts to disease, because they don't make vitamin C either. So that's why they're the closest to humans, because those are the two animals, and I've forgotten the type of monkey, but those are the three animals or mammals, I think, that can't increase their vitamin C production. So that's how important vitamin C is. And I'll tell you, there's over 1,000 studies talking about the importance of or the use of vitamin C in cancers and in boosting the immune system. But I will tell you that what happens in the major journals is that they don't give an adequate amount of vitamin C. So all of their studies will say it doesn't work. It's just a placebo or whatever. But the reason why is that they don't give enough. They're given low oral doses, or they're given too much at one time, so the body doesn't absorb it, and they're never using IV vitamin C. Now, that's what you see in the major journals. But if you look at the medical literature, there are over 1,000 studies talking about using vitamin C in conjunction or either without conventional therapy.
I don't understand, and this is me now. This is not Dr. Taylor. I don't want to get him in any trouble, but I don't understand. For example, the IV I took, I was on the table for 30 minutes, felt wonderful afterwards. Why doesn't the insurance companies cover that?
Insurance companies. Okay, let me say, the insurance.
Be careful.
Yeah,
I don't want to get you in trouble.
Right. Well, one, insurance companies, the business model of insurance companies is collect the premium and try your best not to pay the claim.
Yes.
That's how they make money. I mean, it's just, if I owned an insurance company and I needed to satisfy my shareholders, that's what I would do. Raise my premiums and try not to pay a claim. Now, I think what happens is that the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance industry and the hospital industry, well, I'll say the pharmaceutical industry and the insurance industry, they're in bed together. So they want to promote, their products so they can, and again, this is all just theory, but they want to promote what they want to promote to the insurance company what they are promoting. So please pay for my drug. Please pay for this procedure. And they're just in bed together. So when you talk about functional or alternative medicine, they're not interested in it. They don't know enough about it. The medical community will say, don't waste your money. It doesn't work. It's unproven. And the thing is that they set it up so that it can't be proven.
Right.
So that's what they tell the insurance company. It's not proven. It's a waste of money. And again, that vitamin C IV probably costs you a couple $100 at the most. Or you could go to the emergency room. They'll do chest X-rays, all that stuff, and you'll come out there with a $3,000 bill
right.
that the insurance company might pay for. So that's what doesn't.
But it seems like it would save them so much more money by treating it rather than. I don't understand it, especially with vitamin C.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, it's probably going to cost them less money, less time spent in the hospital.
Yeah.
And paying it.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Hey, a lot of things doesn't make sense. Like I said, I don't know why they call it common sense, because it's very uncommon.
Yes.
We need to call it uncommon sense. But that's what I'm saying. You go to the emergency room, the insurance company's gonna get a $10,000 bill, and or they could pay $200 and something for IV and be done with it. It just, you're right, it doesn't make sense.
So with all your cancer patients, this vitamin C IV is very important.
Oh, you can't believe it. I'll tell you, this is one of my star patients. This patient, she's 45, 46 years old. She has the worst type of breast cancer, a triple negative breast cancer. That means it doesn't respond to any kind of hormonal manipulation. It's just a wildcat kind of cancer. So she came to me after she had a double mastectomy. It had gone to her lungs. They had resected a part of her lung, and she was so fatigued. She has a 7-8-year-old son. She was so fatigued, she couldn't really get out of bed. She couldn't take care of her son. So she came to me as a last effort, because she was going to go to Mexico to try and get a treatment, because she wanted to live for her son. So anyway, she started coming in every week. We started off with 50 grams of vitamin C. Now we're at 75, and we've been at 75 grams, for, I don't know, months now. Anyway, to make a long story short, we're probably 5 or 6 months into her treatment. Her fatigue is gone. She's gained weight. She went to her oncologist, because she said, I can't take any more chemotherapy. It's going to kill me. So she went to her oncologist, and she was like, wow, the tumors have regressed some, and they've gotten smaller, and we don't see any increase in size, and you seem to be doing fine. And so she was like, okay, I know you stopped the chemotherapy because it seemed like it was just, draining you. So, well, now that you're better, why don't we start chemotherapy again? And my patient was like, are you crazy? She's like, are you crazy?
Wow.
So the vitamin C has made her total recovery. She looks great. She looked like death warmed over when she came to us. But she is my star patient because this is a cancer that most people die from in a year or so, because she had gotten to the point where the chemotherapy has just decimated her health. And so the vitamin C, I mean, she'll tell you, she wrote a review. I mean, it saved her life. She went to Disney with her son, and she was thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to walk around. Let me make sure they have wheelchairs, whatever. She was able to keep up with all of them. She was riding the rides. She did everything that, her husband and her son were doing. And she said a year ago, I wouldn't even have thought about, walking around Disney because, hey, I don't want to walk around, the Disney parks,
right? Yeah.
in the hot sun and whatever. But anyway, that case really made me a vitamin C advocate because, I can't tell you how many times, cancer patients get told, hey, we've done all we can.
Right.
And they just kind of say, hey, go home and die and, leave me alone. There's nothing else I can do. But let me tell you, there's always something else you can do. There's always something else you can do. And it's just incumbent upon the patient to make sure that they're exhausting all possibilities when it comes to treating this cancer, because you have to hit it from all sides. You have to change your diet. You have to seek, I won't say alternative, I would say seek additional therapies. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an alternative. You just want to do everything you can to help fight off this invader that's trying to kill you. So you have to fight back.
Well, I got to tell you, I always kind of leave Dr. Taylor on a little bit longer because
I'm sorry.
I did it on purpose.
Okay.
And Dr. Taylor is with us twice every month. But if you have a family member, it's kind of like Dr. Taylor said, he's basically not going to give up. I mean, there's something out there that's going to help you. Give Dr. Taylor a call. Better yet, go to your website. That's the best way to make an appointment. What's the best website for them to go to, Dr. Taylor?
Yeah, it's taylormedicalgroup.net, taylormedicalgroup.net. And you can, on every page, I think it's at the upper right-hand corner, there's a book now widget or whatever. And you can click on that. All our services are listed, and you can make an initial appointment. You can always call us, but most of the information that you need is on the website, and that's taylormedicalgroup.net.
Well, Dr. Taylor, as always, thank you so much. You are God sent. And I'm going to throw a new topic at you this week. There's a book that's out Anthony Robbins wrote. I don't know if you've had time to look at it, but I heard there's some real interesting things in there, things that he has discovered. But that's for another show. Dr. Eldred Taylor, 678-443-4000.
All right.
We'll be back with you again. Thanks a lot, Dr. Taylor.
All right. Thank you. All right. See you guys later.
See you soon. That's Dr. Eldred Taylor. He's amazing. I mean, he gave up a great OB-GYN practice, and he's amazing when it comes to weight loss, functional medicine, and that's why we have him on so often. We got to go. We got to get out of here. We'll be back with you again next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a wonderful week, and God bless everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.